Yay.
Hey.
I'm Emily Otto, Rebelle Incorporated, and I'm here with the amazing Kim, who was in my mastermind for the last 6 months. And I just wanted to take a minute to share her experience with you guys in the hopes that it sheds a little bit of light on what it might be like to hop in the mastermind for yourself. So can you tell me what made you say yes to joining the mastermind and like, oh, yep, that's what I need. Let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in P school and you just like, I saw you everywhere, like on almost every thread. You didn't just have an answer. It wasn't like, here I am to save the day. You really honestly came in with like empathy, but also really just compassionate guidance. And you just seem to know about so many different things. And I posted something specific that now I can't even remember, but your response to me, like you sent me a direct message, like you reached out to me, you were just already so there and so available with such a depth of information that I just really appreciated.
Yay. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
And throughout the last 6 months, like, tell me what your experience has been, and also tell me about the kind of work you do in the world and like what's changed, what hasn't, and anything you want to share with people.
Yeah, let's see. I think that for me, being a solopreneur and a human on my own journey of unfolding and evolution, my business is not different from my personal life. It's like a constant process, like I said, of like peeling back a layer. And that's what I feel like I've done over the last 6 months, is just peel back layers to gain more and more clarity on how I serve people. Because that's been tricky for me to really formulate into words. Like, what is it I do with people? And I'm still in the process of clarifying that.
Totally.
Because really my main mission in life is for all women to know and love themselves deeply so that they can live a life on the outside aligned with their inside. It's like I just want all of us to feel free to be our most authentic selves. And we're taught from such a young age to disregard, to disconnect, and so it's often a journey to come back home to ourselves. And I just see myself as a guide, like kind of the lantern holder, if you will, for women on that path to constantly reflect back to them their own power, their own truth, their own capacity for love and belonging to themselves. So I guess I am learning how to say it in words, but it's like,
yeah, you did pretty good right there.
There's no just like, it's like, it's not, doesn't feel like it's a bam, bam, 1, 2, 3, but I'm working on that. And that's, I guess, what this process has been, working with you in the other women in the group, and on my own, like I'm in a new coaching certification and in my own just healing journey. It's just, like I said, constantly peeling back another layer so that I can go deeper and deeper in my own work and in my business and what I'm available to do for people.
I love that.
Thank you. Yeah, it feels good to talk about it. Thank you for asking that question. I don't know if did I fully answer your question?
A bit, because we're talking about, what was the journey like in the last 6 months? And I really think with the questions that you've had and with the way that you've showed up for unraveling and putting things back together, because I think a lot of this work is creating a weave, a tapestry of how are we talking about our work? What does it include? How are we making sales? How do we not want to be making sales? So I think sharing any insight for people who are considering it of, what was the process or the journey of the mastermind like? And what was your favorite part about it?
Yeah. I think, as I was saying before you hit record, I wasn't able to fully dive in as much as I wanted to. And I sense that, or as much as I was available to, given that I'm in another program and just life.
Life and humaning.
Humaning, exactly. Single momming, all of that are also incredibly important values of mine. But the journey through the mastermind, I think I guess for me, I just want to say too, the minute I connected with you, I knew it was a yes. Like just the way you were so genuine. I didn't feel like you were trying to be like, I need to sell her on this. You just genuinely love what you do. And that came through from the minute I connected with you. So I just want to say that first and foremost, that that authentic desire to help other people have the experience of loving what they do is so you transmit that.
Thank you.
Yeah. There is just that shit. It's just so genuine. You can't make that shit up,
No. It's authentic.
Yeah, totally. And so I just knew it was a yes. And then once it was a yes, then having all of the resources that are in the member vault. I mean, we were talking about before we started recording, that is, I will have that to keep going back to as a guide, and it's just, I love that even at the beginning, it's if you don't even know where to start here. Cause that's really how, I came into this, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what I don't know. And I still feel a lot of that. And I also am not under the illusion that that's not that's okay. 6 months later, it's okay. Totally. And at the same time, I guess I've just become more comfortable with living in the question.
Doing it messy, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
And you are I feel like you're in the back of my mind all the time with that. You're just your authentic way of just showing up, that because I have a friend who she tries to perfect everything, that maybe perfect isn't the right word, but everything is pretty. And I can tend to get lost there too. And you've really been such an example and an inspiration for all of us, because you walk that talk. You're not just suggesting it. You're genuinely continuing to show up, and you're doing it. And as a mom myself, I just think that's really valuable.
While we're doing this testimonial, there is a baby down here.
Now he's asleep.
But it's part of the process, right? Of we don't do this in spite of our humanness. We do it with motherhood, with the messy, with the time constraints, with the, God, I wish I had all the time in the world to dedicate to this. So I don't. So here we go.
Yeah, I think I needed to hear that today. Because as I was saying what I said a moment ago, just there's a compartmentalizing that can happen.
Yeah.
And just remembering, because that's almost where I find myself now, is in my next level of learning, is how to create a schedule that works for me within my life, that also allows me to feel empowered and not just at the whim of my life.
Yeah.
Not at the effect of it, but having some influence. Yeah, exactly. Deciding, creating sacred structures and boundaries around my energy and where I put it, when I schedule appointments, when I'm available to my kid, all of that, that's important, but not, like you said, that was so beautiful. We don't do it in spite of being human. We do it as being human. So, and I just really so through the journey of the mastermind, the calls, I always appreciated that I knew when I had a call, when there was a call, I don't tend to be someone who sits back. So I always jumped in with my question.
Me too.
And and your answers were always just like I was saying before you hit record, you don't just know the tactical part of it. You understand the bigger picture. You understand the energy of it. You understand what might be blocking us on the process. So you handle all of the logistics, which you have such a wide range of knowledge about. I don't know if you know that about yourself,
I
but
appreciate that.
yeah, I don't know if all business coaches have that. That hasn't been my experience, I'll just say. So, like the tactical knowledge plus this empathic presence that you have about you that feels, that is like just heart-centered, which is who you lead, right? So it makes sense. But yeah, the calls, and I loved those. And I also just really want to name and appreciate how much I loved that if I had something that was like percolating, couldn't wait for a call, I could go into that Facebook group and you were on it with the responses, whether it was a video response or a typed response. I knew that I was going to get support there. There was never a doubt about that.
I love that. I think it's so important, because building these purpose-driven businesses, especially if we have a full-time job alongside it, especially if we're the only healer in our network, it can feel so lonely and like no one else believes in your dream. So I think having that support is so critical.
Yeah. Yeah. I really learned, I think through your mastermind, I knew this about myself, but I didn't realize, again, like my business isn't compartmentalized from the rest of who I am, that in business, I need this like community too. I knew I needed community in other places, but didn't realize how much I needed it in business too.
I didn't realize how much I needed it until I built it. Like I had a feeling, but I had never been in a mastermind before making my own.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You are so brave.
Thanks.
Like, but if you build it, they will come, right? It's like, build what you know you need. That's so cool.
I knew part of the key was sisterhood and community and not being alone and not feeling like you're the only unique sparkle pony, because it can seem like that. And it can seem like, well, if no one's ever done it before, then how do I know this is even possible? But when you're surrounded by a dozen or more other women who are also building something no one's ever seen before, also believing in the impossible, it's like, oh, okay, there may be something to this.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I just love that. Cause like, yeah, if you don't have it, build it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause we all do need it. And I think sometimes we don't realize how much we need it. And then we get it. And it's like, oh, yep. That's really vital to my, like, yeah. I also will just say real quick, I tend to get very, my feminine energy is like, I just can get lost in there for days. And there's something about being in a mastermind that helps kind of corral the masculine energy as well, of like the taking the action. So I just want to, that's a plug for the accountability and the like action taking there too. Cause I can get really lost in the like heart and mind, like the like
the juicy stuff. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's why I do what I do. Right. But
yeah. And then there's this whole, it's a business. And how do we create a structure to play in?
Yeah.
And to flow within. And I love that part of building such a business. It's great.
Yeah. Amazing.
What would you say to anybody watching this who's like, I don't know, I'm still on the fence? What would you say to them to consider or to think of, or how do they make the right decision?
Well, I would be curious if they felt that inner call to community and accountability and a place to be supported and a place to be guided. And if they did, then the answer is really simple. I guess it's just like we complicate things, right?
All the time.
Right? Like, and all just like the reason we need to show up here is often the reason we don't. It's the same reason we show up is the same thing that gets in the way. So like, it just get out of your own way. And I mean that with deep reverence and love. But my guess is that most of the time it's fear that holds us all back. And if you need, like, to someone who's wondering, like, if you need a place for someone to believe in you and to help you clarify what it is you do in the world and take aligned action, then this is the place to show up in.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you and appreciate getting to do this together.
Yeah, I appreciate it too. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing the work you do in the world.
You too.
Being you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just really glad you're you.
Thank you.
Yeah.